Hey, what's up everybody? This is Like It's 1985, and today we are going to take a look at Beast Hunters Predacons Rising Beast Fire Predaking. And this figure does come packaged in its beast form or dragon form, as you see before you now. And I will show you some extensive size comparisons once we get into robot mode. But to start off this review, I'd like to talk about two negative things about this figure. And one of the things is the price at retail. I picked this up at my local Target for $60. Yeah, I'm even regretting that. And I got it because I only have two Targets in my area, so it is a Target exclusive. And so I decided to pick it up while I could find it. Chances are I'll find it probably at clearance or retail, discounted retail later on, but I'd have to wait for that. So I don't know. I regret a little bit spending that much money on this figure. So I'll be honest about that. The second issue I have with this figure is to do with the in beast form, the front legs. They're not so much an issue in robot mode, although they do affect the ability of the figure to hold the weapon in robot mode, but really it becomes frustrating here in beast form. When you try to pose this figure in beast form, it's frustrating because what happens is it tends to collapse down. The legs tend to fold down very easily, and you just try to mess around with the figure and it just gets really frustrating. So yeah, there's that. It could be just my figure. I doubt that. I think it's just a issue where Hasbro said, well, we'll put a ratchet joint here, but you know, we won't make it a very good ratchet joint, and you know, to save on cost or whatever. But for a $60 figures, there damn well better be a nice solid ratchet joint, at least in the shoulder area, as well as one here at the elbow, or the bend here at the foreclaw or front leg here. I mean, there is a ratchet there, but it could have been stronger. So with those negative things aside, it does look like a decent beast mode here, or dragon mode. I'll just do a little 360 action here. According to the box, the wingspan from tip to tip is 21 inches long. So pretty impressive size for this figure. Again, he's kind of slouching because really it's hard to really pose these front legs, I find. The joints are just so weak, they just kind of collapse. See? You try to get him up to an upright position and it just, doesn't want to cooperate. So there is that. You do have these, what do you call them, the crossbow weapons here that mount underneath the wings here. Let me go ahead and take those out because you do need to use those in the robot mode. Simple firing mechanism there, you can see. Fire off pretty nicely. No worries there. And as you can see, some basic detailing there. Alright, so articulation. Well, let's see. We already mentioned the front legs here, I guess the four legs you call them, in beast form. They do have the gimmick here. There's a little lever here, which is really not well disguised. They could have made it a little more easier, or I should say, they should have made it more so it's less obvious. But I guess maybe for kids they wanted to make it obvious, so yeah. So he pushes this down here, and you have articulation at the neck, as you can see. And you probably can't make it out too well, but it does light up. Let me adjust the light here. You can see it does light up. And this will also light up in beast form. Not exactly this part. Well, this part will actually light up, but it's more of the chest in robot mode, I should say, that lights up. So there is that little gimmick. It does require a lot of batteries, though. It's like 2 AA batteries. And speaking of the batteries are accessible through this panel here. What you actually have to do is take off both of the wings, and they are designed to come off. You can see there, and take them off the other wing as well, and then unscrew this, and then below there, the actual batteries fit in these little sections here. You can see there. That's why they're kind of shaped like that, I guess. So you do have that. There is articulation here at the wings, as you can see. Well, get that back on there. It stays pretty securely on there. Then you have articulation there, and you have the wings that go like this. So you do have a little bit of posability there. This piece right here articulates up and down, although you kind of need this piece like this to hide all the bits that are below, but this can go up and down. The actual tail is simply pegged into this piece of plastic here. I mean, you can see there's movement here at the legs, although really you don't really want to move these around too much. They're designed to peg in here, as you can see there. So really you can move around like this, that's about it. There's not a whole lot of movement here at the lower leg, just about like that, as you can see. Not sure what type of joint that is, but you can kind of see what it does. So that is all really for articulation. In terms of aesthetics, how the actual beast form looks, like I said, it looks like a dragon mode. I think it's pretty decent, believable dragon form. You do have these symbols here on the wings. Unfortunately, Hasbro chose not to paint them, although I'm planning probably to take a little really thin point Sharpie, not really a Sharpie, but a micron type of pin that's silver or gold, and paint those. Well, actually not paint, but just kind of draw in there and just fill in those symbols. So there is that. You got the Beast Hunter's symbol there on both wings. You got some nice sculpt here at the head. Take a look here. Nice sculpting detail, nice orange fading into black there. And the tail is nicely detailed as well. You got some nice silver paint outs here on the underside of the tail. And it does tend to fade in from silver on the bottom to black up here, or just the black plastic. So there is that. You got some sculpting detail underneath the wings here. Alright, so let's go ahead and transform this guy. So first thing I'm going to do here is go ahead and fold up the wings, just kind of get them out of the way for now. Going to go ahead and take out the tail. It simply plugs in there. You can see how that goes. Set that to the side. And we're going to deal with the legs first. Now, if we lift this piece up here, you can see how the legs are actually pegged into the what are almost the thighs there. You want to unpeg that, and this comes around, and actually you can see right there it's going to connect like that. Now when the figure is packaged, apparently it's mistransformed, or it's transformed in such a way that they can fit it into the packaging, but it's transformed like something like this, and that's actually not the correct transformation. You should have the leg looking like this with that black section pegged into the, or this tab here slotted into that slot there. So anyways, extend out the leg and rotate around. You have some side armor here with some nice detail there, as you can see. And we're going to do the same thing over on the other leg, of course. Unpeg from the side. Bring that together. Rotate. Well, it's already rotated around, I guess, to the correct orientation. So there we go. Then you simply bring down the arms. Straighten out the arms, and what you're supposed to do is close up the claws so they become kind of like hands, and I guess rotate these around like that. You can see there's peg holes here near the wrist. Those will come into play for the weapons. You have these spikes here that come out like that. Nice detailing there with the, I suppose, Cybertronian symbols. You've got the silver here kind of fading into black on the shoulder armor. Then the head's right here, so you want to take this whole section here, and this should come on tabbed. So you can see how it just tabs down in there. This goes all the way back, that you can get it. So coming back here, bring it all the way down as far as you can, which is about there. And then get the wings back out to the side there. That. And finally, rotate around the head. So that pretty much is Predaking in robot mode. So articulation remains the same. It's just that, you know, we'll go over it real quick. You got the shoulders here, which actually are on ratchets. So I take that back. That's actually a ratchet there. But again, like I say, the ratchet is, or should be, stronger than it is. Ratchets there at the shoulder, swivel at the, ratchet here at the elbow, swivel at the elbow as well. You have the hands on ball joints. And this guy does not have any waist articulation. Legs, of course, as you'd expect. Swivel at the thigh. 90-degree bend at the knee. And as I showed you before, there's actually, now that I look at it, there's actually a ball joint. You can see them there. So the ankle is actually on a ball joint, or I should say the foot's on the ball joint. So there you go for articulation. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at Predaking here in detail. Very nice head sculpt. Very nice translucent plastic on his crest there at the top of his head, which allows for the light up feature. Nice sculpting at the chest. Nice sculpting on the shoulder armor. Really cool. Again, you can see the wing detail there. There's really nice detail here on this part of the figure. Really nice armor. Nicely detailed. You've got some color change here. If you look at the top of the hips here, they're sort of an orange-yellow, which fades into a orange plastic, which is really nice. Nice knee armor here. At the tips here you got some silver. And the legs look very nicely detailed, very nicely sculpted. Got some symbols down here. Very cool. Taking a look at the back, of course, you have the dragon head kibble there. Not too bad, actually. You can't really see it from the front when you're looking at the front of the robot mode, and not too terribly bad, actually. Okay, so let's move on to weaponry in robot mode. According to the instructions, you're supposed to peg in the crossbows here on the forearms, and you can certainly do that if you so desire. Something like that. You can also actually have Predaking wield the crossbow in his peg hole here above his hand. Something like that. So there is that option, or you can just leave them pegged into the wings if you wanted to as well, which is up here. So let me go ahead and remove those. To me, the best weapon is the tail slash sword, and we can take a close look at it right now. Pretty cool sculpt. And you would peg this into the peg hole here and kind of squeeze his claws together, and there you go. Really cool. As you can see, the arm here at the elbow is a bit loose, as well as at the shoulder. You can see here. That's why I was saying stronger ratchets, Hasbro, stronger ratchets. Yeah, so it's okay, but it tends eventually to flop around. So there is that, but he does look very, very menacing with this tail weapon. And I just like the way it looks. You know, from this point on, it looks like a sort of like a organic bone structure that's been turned into a weapon. So that's really cool. I do like that with all the spikes there. So pretty darn cool. Now the light up feature does work here in robot mode. There is this button here on his shoulder, and you can see he lights up quite nicely. I really like how the crest on top of his head also lights up really well. Looking at the back here, you can activate the light up feature for the dragon head, even though it's actually not in dragon mode. Again, you push this lever, and as you can see, the eyes and the crest do light up. As you did in Dragon mode, you do have options for posability with the wings in robot mode here. These can fold in like this, and you can actually bring the wings back if you so desire, making them less prominent from the front. So you have a side profile looking like that, although that tends to make them a bit back heavy depending on how you pose the legs. So you may have to adjust for that. Deluxe Class Knockout and Cliff Jumper. We have the Beast Hunter's Bumblebee figure and Beast Hunter's Wheeljack. Both, of course, are Deluxe Class figures. Next up, here we have the Voyager Optimus Prime Beast Hunters version next to Predaking. Voyager Beast Hunters Megatron and Voyager Starscream. Alright, here we have the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime next to Predaking. So really, Predaking is about a Leader Class size figure here in robot mode. And finally, here is the size comparison that perhaps most people wanted to see. This is a comparison with the Voyager Predaking on the right. So overall, how do I feel about the figure? Actually, I don't feel too bad. Yes, I do feel bad about paying $60 for the figure. It's not worth $60. And if I would have had some more restraint, if I would have waited until it went on clearance or on sale, that would have been even better. But I can't really fault the figure because of the fact that I couldn't wait. So as a figure, just judging it on the figure's basis alone, it's actually a decent figure. Yes, it has an overly simplistic transformation, but you know, it does work. It does actually kind of work. I do wish the joints were tighter or stronger in the shoulder area as well as in the elbow area and also in the wrist area. It really is frustrating trying to pose this figure in Dragon mode because the front dragon legs just tend to collapse. So there is that issue. However, having said that, it does hold the sword really tightly in there. You may not be able to get the arm to stay up like that, but this thing is plugged in there really solid, really secure. So as far as actually falling out of the hand, it's not going to go anywhere because of that peg hole on the wrist. Furthermore, yes, there are issues with back heaviness, but as you can see, the figure does actually have some really nice, really fantastic heels there. I forgot to point that out earlier, but you can see very nice work there by Hasbro to get the figure, the actual feet for the figure to actually support the figure as much as it can. Depending on how you pose it, yes, you'll have issues with back heaviness, but overall it does stand up really nicely. And I have to say, it does have a really awesome shelf presence, meaning it looks great as a display piece on your shelf. I'm definitely going to keep the figure in robot mode here with its big ass sword. I love figures with swords, and the robot mode just looks fantastic. So really do like it. And like I said, yes, I'm disappointed that I paid $60 for it, but I can't really blame the figure for that. That's only, the blame has to go on me for that. So if you can, wait for it to be released on clearance or on sale. Keep in mind that it is a Target exclusive, but if you have more than 2 Targets in your area, you may not have a problem picking this guy up later at a later time. Alright, well thanks for watching. This has been my review of the Beast Hunters Predacons Rising Beast Fire Predaking.